Okay, so now that the final DC Extended Universe or DCEU movie, The Flash, has been released and everything is over and done with, I thought it would be pretty fun to rank each movie and show based on favoritism, personal best, and what I enjoyed more, and yada yada. I actually been keeping up with the DCEU since the very beginning, and it may seem pretty interesting, but like I actually don't dislike any of them. So yeah. So now that I mentioned all that, now it's time to get started with the top 15 DCEU movies and show list. And here we go. Let's get started. Alright, so for number fuck you goes to oh gosh. I started the video that way. Oh wow. Okay, funny story. When I first saw the theatrical cut of Justice League, I hated it. I felt betrayed because I kept up with the MCU. I kept up with the DCEU beyond religiously. Big summary, almost everything in this movie triggered me, along with learning why the movie was the way it was. It just fueled my rage, made me point the finger, and just be like, I'm never watching this movie ever again. Until recently, after years, I decided to rewatch it, and the movie actually wasn't even that bad after all. Without thinking about that Zack Snyder style that I really mess with, but more towards the animations and all that good stuff, I was messing with the movie. Yeah, it still has its problems, like that Abomination, but the movie isn't even that bad. I still have my bias though, so I'm gonna put it last for the culture. Alright, so for number 15 goes to Wonder Woman 1984. I watched this movie one time. I liked it. It's not that bad. My favorite part was the beginning of the movie with that flashback obstacle course thing and that little lesson that was being taught about like not cheating and stuff. Everything else after was to WTF question mark, all capital letters. Like, why did they make that decision? Like, what? But even though I liked the movie, I would never watch this movie ever again. It is not my cup of tea. Number 14 goes to Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I rewatched this movie recently and there's a battle going on in my brain whether or not I like this movie or not. Like, I got everything I wanted in a follow-up after Shazam, but what ruins this movie for me is Zachary Levi's portrayal as Shazam. Billy Batson, who's nearly 18 in this movie, does not act like a goofy-ass 12-year-old kid, but Zachary Levi, oh yeah, gotta throw this in. No hate for the guy, by the way. It's just the fact that he was acting that way just threw everything off for me, you know? The post-credit scene made me mad too, cause like, from my knowledge and what was shown for the DCEU, Amanda Waller owning Task Force X, the Justice Society, and having Superman on speed dial doesn't make any sense. But like, at the end of the day, this movie's not bad, it's just that I don't know if I like this movie or not. Alright, number 13 goes to Suicide Squad. I literally watched this movie in high school because of Will Smith and Margot Robbie. Yeah. The action was cool. Story was alright. The setting was okay. The music choices were both fascinating and questionable. Overall, not a bad movie. It's just that it wasn't all that, you know? Also, this movie felt very weird to watch because, like, okay, in this continuity has shown Batman unaliving people without any hesitation, but there's still a Joker around, and not just any Joker, a Cholo Joker. Weird. And Killer Croc hurts my soul, man. Like, the devs really saw Killer Croc and was like, let's make him to a puny frog skelly creature thing and have him talk like an early 2000s generic black guy. Like, I still mess with the movie, but mine's my gripes. It's like, it's not bad. Release the air cut, please. Please, I beg you. Number 12 goes to Batman v Superman. And don't worry, this is the actual cut of BVS. I still mess with this one to a degree. When I first saw this movie, I left the theaters not hating the movie, but something felt off. Stuck me being a bit disappointed because the dumbass WB back during that time decided to spoil the whole fucking movie in the goddamn trailers. Anyways, when I saw the Ultimate Edition, that's when I knew why this movie felt weird. This version of the movie is missing a bunch of parts that makes this movie flow terribly. After witnessing the Ultimate Edition, this version is so unbearable to watch. But I'll definitely watch this over Suicide Squad any day. All right, number 11 goes to The Flash. This movie isn't that bad. I like it, but I can't look at this movie without having my bias glasses on over my liking over the comic and animated movie. I still don't really like Andrew Miller's version of The Flash. At least this movie redeems him pretty good, to a degree. Well, minus the CGI, which I'm not downing the movie for. Trust me, I don't blame people for thrashing this movie over it, just that I really don't mind the CGI. But other than that, a great portion of the movie is pretty cool. Maybe rewatching this movie without my bias glasses like on or whatever, I'll probably like this movie more, like on a level where people are praising this movie, but like, I don't know. So yeah. All right. Number 10 goes to Birds of Prey. I'm honestly shocked this movie is hated by tons of people. It took me 2 years to watch this movie because I wasn't interested in it like at all. But when I saw this movie, I had a freaking blast. It was a fun watch. It was funny. The action was dope. The setting was pretty cool. The music choice fit so well. And the story was a story. But overall, I really like this movie. But dog, I was so disappointed learning why this movie was hated. I thought people would dislike this movie because the characters weren't like in the comics and the animations and stuff like that. Like for example, Cassandra Cain. The devs saw that badass character who has the top coolest batsuit, by the way. They saw her and was like, let's have her be a snarky thieving little shit. And they made Black Mask and Victor Zsasz a couple. The Huntress, or what they call the Crossbow Killer, which was a pretty funny gag in the movie. They looked at her origin story and decided to, oh, never mind. I guess going to Beatrice Kiddo Kill Bill storyline was a good call. I say that because my knowledge over the character was that she was the daughter of Catwoman and was pretty much a Bat member, but she does have like multiple origin stories. Speaking of Catwoman, damn, that's a damn shame she wasn't in DCEU. Bummer. Anyways, and Black Canary. Okay. So like, I mean, the actress portrayed her and had her fight scenes pretty good, but like, I mean, the character name is Black Canary, but the crime I saw was that they didn't make her spam her canary cry and be around Green Arrow, who sadly also isn't in the DCEU. Gosh darn it, I'm glad this shit getting rebooted. How the hell did I have Green Arrow in this continuity? That's so odd. Oh shit, I went on a tangent. Whoops. Okay. But you know, more stuff that wasn't like accurate to the cartoons and comics and stuff. So like the actual reason why this movie was hated was because of girl power. That was it. Just girl power. Like this movie's pretty good and it's hated because of girl power? Like really? So number 9 goes to Wonder Woman. Now this is a pretty damn good movie. I honestly have nothing truly negative to say. I like the story, the setting, the music, the engaging action, the balance between that Zack Snyder feel and the bright inspirational moments, which were dope as heck to see. Gal Gadot's portrayal as Wonder Stripper. Yes, I said Wonder Stripper. Her portrayal as a character was truly great. Steve Rogers' sacrifice crashing that plane into the, oh my god, that's the wrong movie. Steve Trevor having that noble sacrifice, flying the plane to the sky, blowing it up and preventing the gas for being used for evil and etc. Like there's so many things in the movie I really like. The final act was weird, but to be fair, this is a DC movie and it's based on that continuity, so it makes sense for the final act of the movie to have something over the top. I'm glad I'm not an Ares fan though, and if Gal Gadot's portrayal as this character had her talk like a warrior, like, you know, like have like warrior talk, like saying stuff like have at thee and stuff like that. You know how she sounds in the cartoons? I would really mess with that, but you know, she didn't, but it's still cool though. But this movie isn't higher because this isn't the type of movie I would rewatch all the time, but I'm glad this movie exists. Number 8 goes to Peacemaker. Alright, I'm gonna keep it a stack. I thought I was gonna hate this show because Peacemaker unalived Rick Flag. But then I watched the show and I really dig this show. It redeemed Peacemaker's act of a crime to my feelings and got me, liking the character and looking up stuff he does in the comics. I messed with the characters, the action was nice. The butterfly aliens I'd never heard of were cool. This may sound kind of weird, but I really fucked with this soundtrack. The jokes and comedies were, not the best, but it had its moments where I laughed at or was like, wait, what? But overall, I'm glad I watched this show, and I actually rewatch this show every now and then. Okay, number 7 goes to The Suicide Squad. I feel so bad and regret because it took me a year to watch this movie. My coworkers were recommending me to watch this while it was in theaters, and I was like, nah. But man, this movie is so freaking good. I deadass watched this movie a second time immediately. If I can hop in Future Trunk's time machine, I will literally go out my way to slap my 2021 self and be like, watch that gosh darn movie. Like, dog. Bloodsport was cool as fuck. Peacemaker, before he took out Rick Flag, was fascinating in a good way. Rick Flag was actually a likable character. Like, what? Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, wow. This scene right here had me like, God damn. That shit caught me off guard. Like, damn. I messed with Ratcatcher 2, the polka dot guy, King Shark, and bruh, the motherfucking Starro was in this movie as the final boss? Like, whoa, that caught me off guard right there. The entire movie was freaking dope. I'm shocked this movie did terrible in the box office, but then again, people probably had the same reaction as me, not being interested in it, mainly because of the first Suicide Squad movie. So I guess it's understandable why the movie did bad, but at the same time, it's like, damn. But I am glad I watched this movie on my HBO Max when I did. So, number 6 goes to Shazam. I really like this movie. It took me 3 years to watch it, and I have no regrets taking so long, but I honestly did not expect to enjoy this movie the way I did. I truly like this story, and you know how you text LMAO? Well, I was literally laughing my ass off at that store robbery scene and them shots and slugs targeted to my top tier favorite DCEU movie, not spoiling where it's gonna be at, but Man of Steel, and that just caught me off guard, stacked with, those parts being pretty freaking funny. The clash of mindsets between Billy and Freddy was a nice touch in the movie. The Shazam fam and that little action part was cool. And I almost cried when Billy finally met his mother. Finally found her. And he told her that heart-touching speech that he probably recited for Kami knows how long. And then this lady basically told him to fuck off. I almost shed a tear, but I sucked that shit right back up. I don't like crying. But overall, this is a pretty solid movie. Okay, number 5 goes to Batman v Superman. This movie is really good to me. It honestly aged like fine wine, to a degree. The viewing experience is much better on a rewatch compared to the first, but let's be fucking for real. It still has its problems. I can't unsee stuff that are negative about this movie, but at the same time, it's forgivable because during that time, WB basically forced the man's Zack Snyder to rush and skip multiple projects to catch up to this movie, to catch up with Marvel and all that good stuff. But at the same time, this movie having like 7+ movies fused into it, Easter eggs and decisions being irrelevant and questionable to me. Doomsday is my top favorite DC antagonist. I honestly didn't mind what they did to Doomsday in this movie, since the Kryptonian AI explained to Lex Luthor how to work their tech. It basically implied that there's a Doomsday out there in space, so I forgave this Doomsday. Okay, so it's called Batman v Superman. I gotta be honest, man. That fight between Supes and Batsy was honestly kinda fucking ass. Just saying. This movie pays great homage to The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2. Like, come on, this movie should have Batsy Bats in that suit on Superman level, or make the fight between the two cartoonishly over the top. Like, balls to the wall crazy. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful Ben Affleck's Batman was doing superhuman level feats and all, but I don't know. I think my expectations were too high or something, cause, you know, the title of the movie. Either way, I'm very grateful the Ultimate Edition exists, and overall, I still really messed with how this movie displayed the world's reaction towards Superman in a very realistic way, especially because of Man of Steel. Bruce Wayne understandably being a psychopath. I'm not really a fan of Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, but it was quite fascinating, in a good way by the way, seeing these out of context comic book panel comparisons. Okay, so I know how we meme about this all the time, you know, the save Martha scene, but like, you know, minus the memes and the jokes, within the context of the scene, I really messed with that scene because it was pretty much showing that Batman was realizing that he messed up big time, and it displayed Clark being more human compared to Bruce Wayne and stuff like that, and yada yada. Like, the overall scene was pretty cool. Like, I liked it. And, you know, the overall soundtrack, the epic feel to the fight scenes, Wonder Strippers overall, like, introduction in the movie was pretty cool. And Superman's death scene was very underwhelming, but I liked how the scene paid homage to Doomsday stabbing him like he did as Zod stabbing Superman's father, and etc, 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 of many reasons why I like this movie, but I don't want to talk for too long. And this movie is low-key kind of goated. It could have been way better, but you know. But I still like this movie regardless though, so yeah. Number 4 goes to Black Adam. Alright, I'ma say it. This isn't a groundbreaking work of art piece of cinema type movie, but gosh darn it, it is easily the top funnest DCEU movie ever made. I didn't mind the simple plot, especially since it got straight to the point, along with Teth Adams' backstory and the twist that was done pretty good, considering the fact that he's not really a deep, not so popular, either a jobber or a juggernaut or a piece of shit villain to an anti-hero to a hero. I didn't mind what they did with Teth Adams. The action and the display of powers were a joy to see. The music was both cool and cringe, but understandably cringe. Dude, Dr. Fate.
Teth Adam, we know who you are. There's no place for you in the world of man. Kneel or die.
Was so freaking cool until the writer decided to hold the fuck out of him, making him weak as hell and making him a full-on retard. Sorry, I've been wanting to see Dr. Fate in a big budget live action movie for years, and like, it was really cool seeing him on the screen, and he was cool, but at the same time they could have did better with him. But you know, it's a Black Adam movie. They could have done better. Like, come on man, it's Dr. Fate. And honestly, this movie had 0 reasons to fail. It literally had everything it needed to succeed. Like, the stuff I can think of off the top of my head, I'm just editing on the screen. It's like, this movie should have never failed. I really like this movie, you know, minus the Dr. Fate, and Black Adam should have been like a full-blown villain to add on to, you know, me liking this movie. And it makes it kind of funny. It's kind of a funny thing. Like, I really like this movie. Like, I really like this movie. Like, to the point that I saw this movie 4 times in theaters. Yes, 4 times. Well, the first 2 times was because I liked the movie, but the second 2 times was to support the movie, to hopefully get Henry Cavill back as Superman if the movie succeeded. But you know, this movie that has The Rock ended up being a flop. Well, at least this movie did its thing, being entertaining and all that good stuff. So, number 3 goes to Aquaman. Growing up, I always seen Aquaman as a lame superhero. Over time, I ended up, you know, watching certain DC anime movies like the Flashpoint Paradox or Thrown to Atlantis, and, you know, playing the Injustice games. And I started to see a little something about the character, but it wasn't enough to, like, consider him in the cool category, if that makes sense. Until this amazing, spectacular, freaking awesome movie I rewatched a bunch of times, by the way, that got released. Dog, this movie gets amped to the awesome scale because of Jason Momoa's portrayal as Aquachad. Yes, I said Aquachad. Along with damn near the entirety of this movie being just simply great. epic, visually stunning, and etc. to the variety of reasons I can like basically just say for this movie. This movie's freaking awesome, man. Oh yeah, so to not completely suck off this movie, I have one gripe with this movie. I wish this movie dove deep. Get it? Dove deep. Or I'm stopped. But I wish it showed more of the civilians' perspective of all the trash and junk and stuff that Orem pushed to lands. It's not a big deal, but I just want to at least see it. Oh yeah, seeing Amber Heard in this movie isn't the same anymore. Shake my head. Other than that, I am still shocked this movie made $1 billion, but that makes sense because this movie's awesome at the end of the day. All right, number 2 goes to Man of Steel. I'm gonna get this out the way. I fucking love this movie. I could talk about this movie for a good long while. To sum it down, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything down to the last minute detail. Like, dog, this is a masterpiece. I really messed with this different take on Superman, and I didn't mind him not being the bright, inspirational, joyful farm boy, respectful, highly valued, heroic figure right from the jump, because this is his beginning. And he probably would have progressed to that, but if Mans had sequel movies, but they didn't happen. I watched this movie literally countless times since I was 14 years old. I always had this movie's back over the negative taste people had, like Clark's pops not knowing whether he should have saved them kids or not, because it's either the world may not have been ready for stuff like that, or the government probably would have snatched that little nigga up and started experimenting on him or something like that. Or the final spectacular battle, by the way. I bet the same people who dislike that final battle are the same people who loved that Superman fight where he was like, "It feels like I live in a world made of cardboard to break something, to break someone." And then proceeds to beat Darkseid through multiple buildings and causing collateral damage. Oh yeah, that's an awesome episode, by the way. Not shitting on it, just wanted to throw it in. But still though, oh yeah, just want to throw this in. This movie also made me realize I was a Zack Snyder fan ever since I first saw this movie. And for almost 10 years, this has been my number one. But just like all great things, they'll eventually get surpassed. All right, okay, number 1 goes to Zack Snyder's Justice League. Okay, I'm gonna get this out the way too. I fucking love this movie too. I love it, damn it. This is not a masterpiece, and it has some stuff I didn't like. For instance, that singing scene. It's still a buzzkill. The Flash isn't like the Barry Allen I know of. Those stupid ass Martian Manhunter scenes and those gosh darn cliffhangers that lead to nowhere. But minus the negatives, this movie's sheer existence stacked with it being a pretty good damn movie, stacked with this movie being dramatically better than the Justice League, and made all the characters even better than before. Like, all of that plus more makes this movie dang near a masterpiece. I contributed leaving a hashtag Lisa Snyder Cut comment every now and then. I made an HBO Max account just to see this movie. I watched this movie countless times, and this is not only my number 1 DCEU movie, this movie is my favorite DC live action product of all time. Woo! Okay, I am done talking about each and every movie and ranking them. But hey, if you like the video, like it, share it around, subscribe, check out the channel. And well, if I'm watching the video, of course, if you like my take on each movie and my ranking and all that good stuff, let me know. Heck, what's your top favorite or top best or whatever ranking of each movie? And the DCEU had its ups and downs throughout the past 10 years and all that good stuff. And at least it had some great movies in it. Had some questionable movies that were like, why did you make this? But other than that, I'm still glad the DCU did its thing, and now that it's over, hopefully the new universe has hopefully better stuff. And yeah, so I don't know what to say. This video is fun to make, so have a good one, and that's the video.